Hello guys, welcome to our Tukul session tonight. This is our Tukul session number 31. Yeah, we're already pushing. And yeah, it started off like that one was so far, but we're already here today. And thank you guys for being there and for the active participation that we have had in the Tukul. This has been a big learning platform. I've learned a lot from you guys. And the learning doesn't stop. It goes on and on and on and on. And so tonight we are going to have a topic that not so many people are talking about in South Sudan. I believe people have other urgent topics to talk about. It's not very common in our social media. It's not even common in our formal discussions, leave alone informal discussions. Yeah. So tonight we are going to talk about life expectancy in South Sudan, but this is going to be a comparative discussion, where we will talk about life expectancy in South Sudan compared to other countries. And we also maybe will look at, we'll deepen the conversation a bit into what are the factors really contributing to life expectancy and maybe what it is in the first place, by the way. Yeah, somebody asked me on our page today, what is life expectancy? I was like, join the discussion tonight. I hope she will later join us. Yeah, but today we are really privileged to have Santino Ken. He has been a member of our Tukul and a very active member here. And tonight he's going to be our lead speaker. Lead speaker means in the Tukul here, everyone is a speaker. But for the topic tonight, we will have Santino as our lead speaker. So Santino, welcome aboard. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine, John. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining us all the way from the distance. You're closer to Stan now than to us.
Yes. I am a neighbor to his.
You're in Stan's neighborhood.
Correct.
Yeah. Welcome to our session tonight, and then thank you very much for finding the time to lead us in this session. We really appreciate that, and we look forward to learning from each other. And this is a topic I'm really very keen about, because sometimes we say, yeah, we need to plan, man, but then how long can we plan, man? Yeah. So thank you, Santino. Welcome, and yeah, let's kick it off. Let's talk about the topic. I'm giving it to you all now for this time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. For it is very nice time to say that I got a privilege to be hosted by the sessions that you usually do.
Thank you.
I would also want to thank and appreciate my colleague who have joined the Tukul today, so that we can have a discussion on this important topic. I'll briefly take you through of why, start introducing myself, because it is always important that you need to know each other. And that's where actually you can take the concept, because you will remember who was actually saying this the other day.
Absolutely.
Basically, yeah, so basically my name is already there. So that is all my name. Just to say the background before I get into this presentation. The area of my specialization is public administration and management. So as a part of social science, I always look at something that is related to management, the execution of the policy. This is all about the public administrations. Right. And the best practices that the institution should actually do. And as I decided to lead this discussion on life expectancy, I know it is related to the human society and the relationship of how humans and the disease all global can contribute into either there are challenges or there are some improvements. That's why I decided to take up this topic and talk much about it. Otherwise, technically, it is a health-related topic, But we have to do the research because it's part of our life. We need to know what is happening on the other field. That is all about myself. I would request that we have to start this discussion of trying first to understand what life expectancy is for us to go forward on that. And for that matter, just allow me to share my screen with you, and then we start to take it there. I don't know whether you are able to see my screen now.
Yes, yes, I'm seeing it perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very okay. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so like as the topic itself dictates, we are trying to talk about comparing the life expectancy between men and women in South Sudan, as it could be the interest of some of the participants to know, and comparing it with the rest of the other countries in the world. So to know more about this life expectancy, what it is, according to Oxford Dictionary, it is the number of years a person is likely to live, just in a simple definition. A number of years a person is likely to live. If it is other thing is also a length of time that something is likely to
exist. Sorry, Santino.
Sorry, yes?
Yes, please. I'm sorry. Can you go to from beginning? That kind of clicks, you click that so that it gives you one page after.
Oh yeah, Philip wants it in the presentation mode, Santino.
Okay.
Yeah, presentation.
From beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Are you okay now?
Good.
Yeah, very okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Philip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Philip. Okay, yeah. So basically, if it is some things, when we define life expectancy, it is a length of time that something is likely to exist. A thing related, maybe animal or any other type of things. So the time that will take that thing to exist is what we call life expectancy when it comes to things.
Okay.
Yeah. So statistically, average number of, it is also defined in a statistical term that it is an average number of years of life remaining after a specified age for a given group of individuals. Yeah. This is also another definition. We had a researcher that also talk about trying to differentiate between life expectancy and lifespan, because people are confusing the two, life expectancy and lifespan. So Dr. Anania Madal is a doctor who described the two, that they are different things. So according to this researcher, is actually telling people that people are using the two interchangeably, but they are two different things, and they have a two different meaning. So life expectancy, according to her, is that is the number of years a person is expected to live based on a statistical average. That is the definition. On the other hand, lifespan is the maximum number of years that a person can potentially expect to live based on a greater number of anyone from the same data set as live. Okay. So yeah, it's basically like in South Sudan population, we can just say that as an example, we have 12 million people, and these 12 million, I'm hearing something from the background.
No, go ahead. Some people are talking outside. Actually outside my door. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was just saying an example. In South Sudan, we have an estimate of 12 million people. Within these 12 million people, there can be one person or two who might live longer than the rest. Maybe someone might have lived for 100 years or 110 years. So the person who have lived a maximum number of years than the rest is what we call a lifespan. But for life expectancy, it is an average number of years a person have lived in the society. That is the difference between the two. I wanted to also highlight, before we go into definitions before we go into comparisons, I wanted also to highlight the biblical lifespan in the olden days. And this is where we will actually try to understand. When I wanted to say that, yeah, the statistical average is calculated based on the population overall. This is about what? This is about the life expectancy. But as we are talking now of the biblical records, I want to say in Genesis 5 and 9, it is revealed there that early men lived to almost 1,000 years. And after the worldwide flood, where we can find it in Genesis 7, that is actually referred to the flood of Noah. It says that men and women did not live as long, because the universal flood, which changed environmental condition on the planet, and consequently people could not live as long, is what contribute to the drop of the life expectancy for mankind. So after the flood, the lifespan of the mankind on earth was reduced to 120 years by the time of the patriarchs. These patriarchs are the fathers of human society, the like of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So whenever you are looking at the, whenever you are looking at the biblical graphic life span in the olden days here, you could see, starting from Adam had 930 years. There is this one of the patriarchs called Methuselah had 969 years. This was a person that lived longer in the biblical history. We have Noah, who also lived for 950 years. We had Abraham, who also lived for 100 years. Isaac had 180 years. Jacob had 147 years. And Moses had also 120 years. And then Joshua had 110 years. So this is an highlight I want to share with you. During biblical days, this is what the Bible is telling us about the lifespan of those people during those days, which has now changed. So here, what I did, I tried to find out around the world, the countries in the world. I tried to find out randomly the countries with highest life expectancy in the world from 1955 to the present. And I also tried to find out the countries that have lowest life expectancy in the world. And that is what we are going to share, what I wanted all of us to see here. I put South Sudan, although it has not met the criteria of my research. I was looking at it specifically as something we need to understand. What is the life expectancy for male and female in South Sudan? And we compare it with the rest of the world. So when I look at this, I found the two countries which has highest life expectancy. I found Hong Kong is the one leading. It has 82.38 years for male. So the average number of years a male person can live in Hong Kong is 82 years. And for a female, she can live for 88 years. That is the average number a normal female in Hong Kong can live. For Japan, male can live for 81 years. Female, they can also live for 88 years. They are more closer to Hong Kong as well. These are the two countries that I have selected among the rest of the other 10 countries that have the highest number of life expectancy. Meanwhile, there are 4 countries with lowest life expectancy in the world that I have selected and shared here. We'll look later on about the factor. You will see Lesotho in South Africa. Stan may testify this later on maybe. You can see the male persons can live at an average of 52 years. The female can live for an average of 58 years. You can also see in chart, male has 53 years. Female, they have 56 years. In Central Africa Republic, you can see male has 52 years and a female has 52 years. So this is the finding according to meters information, which has collected this data, but I randomly selected because I was looking at the number of countries that have the highest number of life expectancy and the one that have the lowest number of life expectancy in this case. So in South Sudan, you could see male can live for 57 years as an average, and female have 60 years as an average in that case. So when we look at contributing factors to the higher life expectancy, you can see one of them is gender. You know, the mortality rate for females are lower at each age than those of men. According to the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, it say the reasons why the female are lower at age than those of men is because naturally men have they can likely got some of the risks because naturally they are hunters, and as men are hunters, they involved in a number of things that can take away their life. It could be either accidents, it could be either engage in war, and from there, with those issues, that's why the number of age a man can live are estimated in average to be lower than the number of age can live. That's one of the things. Another thing is genetics. For genetics, it is being mentioned in one of the research that you can see there are some families which sometimes inherit certain disease, and there are leading disease that can cause life expectancy to reduce. So, and some of the families, they are born as they don't basically associated with some of the diseases. So where you can find the contributing factors to the highest life expectancy for some of the families, they never had some disease that have been inherited from the forefathers or foremothers in that case. So this is one of the things that is found to have contributed to the higher number of life expectancy in those countries. And we have also prenatal and childhood conditions. In this case, the comparison was made in some of the developed countries like Hong Kong, like Japan. the children that are raised in the urban centers, they have access to medical care, and there, their living conditions is always good compared to the children that are raised in the rural areas. So basically, those industrial countries, they are well off in terms of medical, and that can improve the life of the children at their younger age, and they grow without no actually harsh conditions at their childhood up to adulthood. That is why it is contributing to the higher number of life expectancy. Education also has been said to be one of the things that is contributing to a higher number of life expectancy, because those countries, the developed countries, which have a very good number of educated people, they can it link with the socioeconomic status, because educated people, they can have access to services, they can have access to employment, and they can improve their life. The more they have access to employment and they have incomes, they can improve the life of the people, get improved, and there is no kind of a reduction of life expectancy in that society. Socioeconomic status, so the people in those countries that have highest number of life expectancy, they are not poor compared to the developing countries. So they can have access to medical treatment. They always afford to pay the medical bills. In case people are sick, they can access the medical treatment because of their economic status. Marital status, it was mentioned that married people compared to unmarried people. So married people are, in this case, the research discovered that in those developed countries, people who are married have contributed into high number life expectancy than the people who are not married. Simply because people who are not married, they appear to be lonely and isolated, and then the issues to do with the mental health issues come in when they are actually isolated and they are lonely. So it can cause some mental disease, and that can reduce the life expectancy. But now in this case, for these developed countries, it is not a problem for that matter, because people have incomes and they can get married and they can stay with the family without no problem there. Another thing is lifestyle also that can contribute for the highest number of years a person can live. In this point, lifestyle for the people that are in the first world countries, or let's say the developed countries, they can do exercise. They can do exercise to have a physical fitness, and that can contribute to the health and well-being of the person in that matter. Now, there are factors that have been found to have contributed to the lowest life expectancy. One of them is the poor health practice. For example, like smoking. In those countries that have lowest number of years for survival, the people that have lower life expectancy, you could see they are subjected into poor health practices. People are smoking, they are doing other things that can affect their physical health. Poor and limited health facilities. Most of the countries, they do not have good health facilities, and you see people can die easily in the areas that they do not accept health facilities. Wars and terrorism. In those areas, in those countries that have lowest number of years for their survival, one of the contributing factor is the war. and terrorism. So there are a lot of terrorists, there are wars that are going on. These are the things that can affect people's life. There are also what is established as elderly homes, like these old elderly people, there is no plan for their retirement settlement where they can have where people can have their homes and there is food for them. Every aspect of their life, their welfare is well taken care of. There is no plan of that kind in the least developed countries. You may find that these elderly people, they struggle with life. There is nothing that is actually taken care of, and they can easily die because there is no plan that have been made for elderly people. Another thing is illiteracy and ignorance. Illiteracy, like you see, where people are not educated, so whatever they do, they don't know that it is affecting their health. So you may find people are fighting, you may find people are doing things that are not contributing to their well-being, and then this is where many people die. Another thing is high birth rates and fertility. So here in least developed countries, there is high birth rates. Like people are producing a lot, and with that production, they are increasing the population. And as they are increasing the population, they are contributing. This increment of the people cause poverty, because there is nothing that they can pay for this population they are building up, and as a result, people are poor. So people die in a number of factors. You can see rest of the population, they don't have food, they can die because of disease. Others, they can die in other crimes because they don't have food. You may find other people get into the market and they can be thieves. They steal something and they can die on that aspect. So this is one of the things that is that is making the life expectancy reduce in those countries. Another thing also, working beyond 65 years instead of retiring. In the least developed countries or the countries with the lowest life expectancy, you may find that people work beyond 65 years and they don't have a plan for their retirement age. So it's also one of the things, because the human body get tired from the younger age up to the old age while you are still working, and you have nothing that you have prepared that you can go for your retirement. The energy got exhausted, and from there, people die in the middle there. Is one of the things. Another one is the natural disasters and famines. Those are also other things that are that are costing people to lose their life at a younger age. So a thing to do with flooding, people can die, maybe they drown, or the livelihood have been affected by the natural disasters. People can die easily there. So with those remarks, those are the few things that I wanted to share with the members of the Tukul today. And once you get time, you can also go through those references. You can find the information about the life expectancy, especially what it is. And then also you can look at further detail on the countries with the highest number of life expectancy and the countries with the lowest number of life expectancy. And I know the topic itself is very interesting. And once you get time and you go through it, you will understand much part of it. But what I just tried to bring today in this discussion is a brief background for us to know what it is and the contributing factors for us also to understand. But if you want to get more information, you can follow this reference, and then you will get more detail on that. So in case of any questions, I would stop here and be ready to listen to your questions and and I will have time again to answer them. Over to you now.
Wow, thank you very much, Santino. This has been so informative, man. Like, I'm doing crash course right now on is it demographics and things like that. Every bit of this information has been so interesting to me, and I like the fact that you approached it from the research point of view, and you also gave us the references at the end. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so I see I had already from Philip. Let me give it to Philip, and then I also have like a few questions on my own. I really want to get to know about a few things. Yeah, but Philip, I give it to you. Take it. Yeah.
For the chance, and I would like to appreciate Santino. A very comprehensive presentation, so straightforward. Only that some clarification, maybe it is clear. In the beginning, the topic in Tukul tonight was like life expectation, shrinking or expanding in South Sudan. So I thought with the comparisons, we were looking at the two words at the same time. Is it going small or expanding? I think that was my first perception. The second point was, what are the contributing factors? So where I can, as a research, the contributing factors talk about developed countries and the least developed countries, of which the reference maybe, according to my own understanding, is taking us back to South Sudan. Otherwise, that's how I feel like I was a bit confused. It was like a comparison. It was a bit like a comparison. Does life in South Sudan is expanding or going smaller? When you talk of life expansion, you talk of shrinking and expanding. I could not get it very well, but otherwise the presentation is so clear. I can just a clarification. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Philip. Maybe Santino, we want to react to that quickly, and then we give it to Stan. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Philip, for the questions. Yes, as the topic suggests, it is the comparative of life expectancy between South Sudan, which I have outlined on the table, where I did the comparison, selecting the countries randomly and compare exactly the life expectancy for male and female with the rest of the other countries. So what I did here is to do a comparison in a lens that what is the life expectancy? What is the highest life expectancy in the world? What are the countries with highest life expectancy in the world? So that we have to know the countries with the highest life expectancy, and we have to know the countries with the lowest life expectancy. This is the simple comparison that I made. Whether the life expectancy in South Sudan is shrinking or expanding, where I will give you also, I have an idea, I have the information about that, but I will also share the reference source for you also to go and look at it. What has happened according to the World Health Organizations, it is saying that there was a research that was made in 2019, and this research revealed that the life expectancy has increased from 36 years, an average years of 36 from 1971 to 58 years until 2020. So from 1971 to 2020, the life expectancy in South Sudan has increased from 36 years to 58 years. This is the information that we got right now. And when you look at this table now, which is explaining the current life expectancy in South Sudan for male and for female, you will see male has 57 years to live. Also female, they have 60 years. Here, if you compare with the information we got that since 1971, the average number of life expectancy in Sudan before Sudan separated into two, in the southern part of it, it was estimated that the number of years a person can spend at best is 36 years within that society. So I see at current, the life expectancy has increased. It has not shrink. It has increased. This is the answer I can give you on that, Philip. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Santino, for that wonderful reaction there. That's true, by the way. Yeah, I also made a quick look around, and then, yeah, same figures, 57.8 years in 2019, as Santino said, and jumping down to 58.48 in 2022, like this year. So it has, yeah, it has been increasing, but it's gradual, right? It's not so dramatic, yeah. Yeah, but thanks so much for that interaction so far. Let us give it to Stan and here. Maybe it's a different perspective across the continent. Stan, I'm giving you the mic.
Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you very much, Santino, for a great presentation. I think it is very clear. I think the stats that you drawn from Worldometer, I think it is correct. And I think some of the years that you also drawn from, I think it's also correct. Except to say maybe the curve that we would have seen across the world between 2019 and maybe the end of 2021 because of COVID-19. I think that's one of the major effects that could have played a role in the decline of the life expectancy in other countries, because I think it caught many people by surprise, and even those countries that had health facilities, they had to rebuild their health facilities. But more than anything, they had to go high in providing information for people to survive. And we know that there were many doubts and propagandas that were running around. We're told this to cure you, it is not going to cure you. So I think that is also the case in South Africa, because if you look at the life expectancy, it goes about 68% for females, and for males it goes around between 65, 66. But if you look at the stats to date, and because of COVID-19, I think there was a point where it moved down to 62 for females and 59 for males. But because the structures are still, and infrastructure is still there, and now we're moving outside of the COVID-19, and most of the people now have been vaccinated, I'm sure, I think the numbers are going to pick up. And I think we're going to see a different curve maybe come the end of 2020. And in terms of the causes, I think Santino was very clear. It is those causes, contributing factors. Another contributing factor that we are seeing now is depression in South Africa, where most people, there has been a lot of suicides. And those people who commit suicide, they are either within family structures, meaning they are married, and then some that are not married. So I think the comparison is not necessarily based on the marital status, but then I think it could be some financial pressures that we put into ourselves as young people who want to achieve, beautiful cars, new houses, new shoes, and many things at the same time without planning for tomorrow. So it could be a little bit of a peer pressure that is I have gone with John to school, to university, we've qualified together, and I can't see him driving a huge Mercedes-Benz and I'm driving a Toyota. So I'm going to get myself into a debt and try to get a Mercedes-Benz. But I do not know, the capabilities of abilities of John. And then I get into a depression mode and I lose the family that I built up and then I start killing myself. So I think that is another, contributing factor that I thought I should just mention. And I think we've had a lot of artists and people, killing themselves. And I think we're still worried in South Africa and I think also COVID has played a role because people had to lose their jobs and all those assets that they would have acquired without planning are taken away from them and they just can't bear it. So I think that is another curve. So I think for now, let me stop for now and give a team a chance so that we can discuss, and I think I'll come back again with some points. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you very much, Stan, for those very, very interesting perspectives there. And that is something I didn't see, the increasing rates of suicide, people going homicide on themselves, and then this is also a hidden factor contributing to, I would say, like a quiet one. This is not like the pandemic that came and then everybody heard about it, but the suicide rates there. Yeah, thanks for highlighting that, Stan. And Santina, if you want to react back to the sharing of Stan, you can take the mic. If not, I have some questions I wanted to really share. I mean, to ask them regarding the presentation you made. Yeah.
Sorry, to add on. Sorry, sir, Ngong.
Okay.
It is something important, and looking at some problems, people ignore suicide, and this is happening day and night in every society. So it could be something real.
Right.
In any life expectancy, it might happen, and it is real, and it has some number. Statistically, it reduces the life.
Yeah, true.
Yes,
true.
It is important.
Thank you, Philip. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, John, for giving me back the mic. I would just want to confirm the view of Stan. They are absolutely correct. Suicide is one of the things, one of the contributing factor for the reduction of the number of years a person can live. There are quite a lot of them that I have not mentioned in these presentations because it may be too comprehensive and may take a lot of time. I have to make the factors to be quite brief based on the commonalities, things that are visibly contributing in a bigger number. But there are quite a number of them that I have left. Their suicide is one of. I also got it. I have to confirm this. It is correct. It's one of the factors. Yeah, this is what I can confirm on that side. Basically, something that I would need to look at as well is the role COVID-19 has played. In this is what I may basically have to look at it again. I haven't got that. Despite that, I have got the number of diseases that lead diseases that are causing the death across the world. I am not happened to find the COVID-19, but basically it could be there, but I will have a time to look at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Santino. Absolutely true, because I think COVID came and it was like a big shocker for everyone, and we know the number of fatalities in millions across the world. So definitely, I think the average lifespan across the world might have reduced right now, or it is stagnated in a way. I want to believe so, but that's the topic we can do further research on, and maybe come back to the tukul here and see specifically how did COVID reduce, what was the effect on the average life expectancy. So thank you for that again. Santino, when you did the table, especially this table that we have on the screen here, I can see in all the countries, even the ones with the highest, the ones with the lowest, and even here in South Sudan, women are outliving men. Like women tend to outlive men. Women live longer than men. What's going on with this gender? Even
Okay.
in countries where we have high life expectancy. What's wrong with men? Yeah.
That's a good question. Yeah. That is an interesting question. It also raised my eyebrow to look at what exactly is the issue, why the number of years a woman can live longer is higher than the number of years a man can live.
Yeah.
In my finding, I got to know that as I explained before in my presentations, I found out that males or men per se are naturally hunters, and with their behaviors in the society, there are a lot of things that take their life compared to the way the female behave. For females in the society, they are very calm. Most of the time, their behaviors cannot reach their life compared to the behaviors of men. And that's contribute to why women live longer more than men. Yeah, so this is basically the narrative I got about the differences of the two on that side.
Okay. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, because I'm also wondering, because naturally there's even a threat for women to die younger than men, and this is giving birth. If we take away all the hospitals now and the knowledge that we have, and we go back to let's say go back to the Stone Age, or we go back to the African savannah, men would grow. Let's say up to 25 years or something. This is an adult man, but women will begin to give birth at 18, 17, right? And there, if there's no good hospital, no good knowledge, they would, giving birth can kill. It's a cause for fatality. So maybe because, I don't know, I want to assume maybe because of other changes in the middle, life got better. For women, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I see more hands. Ayer, how are you doing? Welcome.
Thanks a lot, Ngong and the team. I think I'm clear and loud. Can you hear me?
Oh. Yes. Yeah, perfectly. I can hear you very well. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I have been missing a lot of, debates, a lot of meetings, and I am glad and happy to have been attending this meeting today.
Welcome.
And the presentation made by Santino is quite good, so interactive, so enjoyable. And as you already stated, I was going through, the screen is shared, and I was wondering as to why is it that the life expectancy for a male counterpart is lower than that of the female counterpart in all the countries.
Yes.
It gave me a lot of thoughts, and to my personal analysis and thoughts, I have come to realize, and I can simply agree with him when he stated that there are a lot of things where men can or could risk their lives to make sure that they achieve things, and some other things results to a fatal way and sometimes lose the life of the man. I would rather say that there are a lot of reasons that life of men can be cut short.
Yeah.
A man in our societies, in our African societies, and more especially our South Sudanese societal setup, you may realize or may find out that the men shoulders every single responsibility.
Okay.
A man may wake up at home in the morning and goes to hunt, search for what his family has to eat later. He may not know exactly where to go and get it, but he has to give himself a lot of thoughts. You know, he can think deeply to find out where he could exactly be able to find something his parent or his family have to, have on the table later in the evening. And most of the times, these responsibilities and these commitments are not being acknowledged or are not being, identified definitely by those he cares for.
Okay.
You may find that most of the men that may come home later in the evening and may find their wives waiting them to quarrel with them.
Okay.
You see, may give a man, a lot of hearty things. He may be thinking about the responsibilities taking and the way he's being treated. So you may find that, a lot of these things reduces the age a man is supposed to, to age. A man is supposed to live. And definitely a heart may take someone. You may get a heart attack. You may get a lot of blood high pressure. As a result of the pressure, as a result of the mistreatment you are getting at home. And this is what I can say. This my personal analysis and studies that I might have made. I may be wrong. I may not be definitely clear, or right. But I have come to realize those are one of the things that kill men earlier more than the women. Once a time, one of my friends whom I was joking with said, in every society in our country, or maybe in Africa, a woman believes that men dies first before them. And he gave me an example like you can try it with your own wife. Try to ask her that we are going to sell this plot of land. And listen what a response will be. She will tell you that, how can we sell out this land? When you die, where will I stay with the kids? I see.
Okay.
She may never think of death is a natural. It's a natural kind of thing. And it does not discriminate. It can take any person, either her or you at any time. But she may never think about it in the first place that she may die first before you. She may think that you are the first to go, and she will come. So this is the nature of our African women, and this is one of the things that makes life of the man so short. I don't know in Japan, I don't know in other places, but I believe every women. I am sorry to say this, but this is one of the things I must say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah, that's interesting there, because I would imagine if somebody has a lot of things to do, that calls for your that will text you in terms of physical energy you will exert on those. And also, if you come back home and you don't get so much moral support, that will be depression. We talked about it before, and for sure, if somebody is depressed for a number of years, the person is most likely to be susceptible to more diseases and die. That could be a strong theory right there. So thank you very much again for your contribution. I have seen a hand from Stan and then also Philip. So I'll give it to Stan and then I'll transition to Philip later. Welcome, Stan.
Thank you, John. No, I think our hair is correct. And then Santino, then the other thing that he mentioned also is the health issues. And I think that there will be some changes, because I think if you look at the sustainable development goals, there's high mortality rate in Africa, and I think the contribution there is mainly facilities, but then other people preferring to give birth the traditional way, and I think it's either a situation where it's either the mother or the child will die, or both But I think that is the situation that we are experiencing now. The traditional way in which men were susceptible to dying because they engaged in, rough way of doing things. They drive cars fast, and in the past, most of the soldiers were recruited from men, and all the wars that we have seen were fought mainly by men. So that's why, traditionally the contributing factor would be, those things. But then now, I think also partly part of the sustainable development goals is promoting equality. So you will see women also registering to become part of the army, of the police force, of the traffic police, and other things. So I think as we go over the years, I think we're going to start to see a little bit of a balance because we don't have much of stay-home moms anymore, where it is a little bit safer than men who are forever in the streets or who are soldiers who are doing most of the things outside of work, and that also coming with all the effects of depression and other things that also a contributing factor. So I think that is the balance that we're going to see in the future. But I think we also need to say, because we know the contributing factors, and because we know there's some of the dynamics, for example, in South Africa and then in South Sudan. And then I think we'll then maybe, as we go along with the discussion, to say, what is then our recommendations in some of the factors, maybe to try to change the situation. So I'm going to give other colleagues a chance, and then I think maybe we'll then come back and say, what do we then recommend so that this become a fruitful engagement as well. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very, very much, Stan, for your contribution. I'm looking forward to the recommendations. I've taken my pen here and my notebooks ready. I really want to find a way forward out of this thing. Yeah, Philip, did you want to contribute?
Yes, I want to add on. I have only 2 words regarding the numbers of years in life expectancy between the man and woman. There are 2 words. We have manpower and man-made disaster. Those are the key 2 words translate. Men are risk taker, and anytime they are victim. Looking at that point, you may find that a nation may fight with another nation, and the victims are the 2 men related to Ukraine and Russia, who are dying now. Those are men dying in front line. Coming back to South Sudan, who are dying now, men dying in the front line. So with the situation of such kind, and also suicidal, we have Al-Qaeda network. Those bombed people with the, men bombers may risk themselves. Suicide bombers, are men. So this is how at time you realize that women are very soft. The only situation women are facing is during childbirth. But beyond 45 years, they are quite comfortable. If at least otherwise something disaster like disease, and serious like COVID, this is where it can kill without a discrimination, whether you are a man or woman. This is where you realize that women are dying. But otherwise, women have less risk than man. That is why statistically, you may find that man having long life more than women. These are the 2 words I want to talk about. Because when we talk of manpower, they are the one protecting the nation. Although there are some women, not in terms of average. Whenever we are talking of man-made disaster, you may find that a man attack another man, and that leads to death. So we can give ourselves time, but we reflect based on a real life we are looking at today generation. And the current situation. Otherwise, thank you so much. That's what I want to add on.
Thank you very, very much, Philip. I think this point has come up, men taking risks, and then when you go to the front lines, you find the majority. I believe women are also in the front line. They also die during confrontations in those front lines. Yeah, but majority you'll find are men, and it's like perceived to be like it's men first in terms of numbers, and then there will be few women in line. I looked around somewhere before we had this discussion, and I would see like in the Stone Age, the average lifespan was 26 for human beings, and for men it was way lower, because most of the times they'll be in the bushes hunting, and they will fight lions, and they could be eaten by lions. They could get drowned, and they could fight wars, and it was very risky for them. Yeah, as you say, the main threat for women at that age was giving birth. Oh, that thing was a killer for majority of people. I mean, for women. Yeah. And yeah, thank you very much, guys, for your contribution. I have one question for Santino. In the presentation, Santino, we observed that the average age of, the average lifespan for South Sudan is in 57, 58 bracket there. And in this country, I think in paper the retirement age is either 60 or 65. I'm not sure, Santino. If you maybe you have some data around that, because if the average age of a person in South Sudan is let's say 58, and the retirement age is 65, I don't see how these two correlate. It's like people could die before they retire. Might not even get their retirement benefits. Is that something you observed, Santino, during your research? Yeah.
Correct.
To add on your question, do we have retirement age in South Sudan?
Yes.
This is another question I want to ask.
Yeah. That one is there. Yeah.
Okay, I think I have a floor. I see the hand of Air up. I don't know whether it is old hand or new one.
Oh yeah. Air, is that a new one or an old one?
Yeah, this is the new one.
Okay.
Maybe I can, before I answer Ngong, maybe we can give him a floor. He may be having an urgent thing to put forward.
Oh yeah. Feel free then.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, it is not an urgent thing, but I was trying to comment and add on what Stan was commenting on regarding the age, the life expectancy and the difference between the life expectancy of a man and a woman. Yeah, I was about to say, Stan talked about it in length, and he was repairing and coordinating with the sustainable development goal. You know, now people are talking about women empowerment. Women empowerment doesn't mean women need to be empowered to do what a woman is supposed to be doing. They are being empowered in order men. Whatever the man does, a woman will be able to do. And I believe with this, the life expectancy will be the same. Giving the life expectancy of a man and a woman difference, between these two, it is either wars affects men more than a woman in one way or the other. But there are some other ways it affects women. But I believe it affects women in a way that it doesn't take their life, but it endangers or it makes their life vulnerable, but does not take their life like it used to take the life of men. But diseases don't discriminate. And the natural death where a man or a woman grows and get old does not discriminate. And if women grows and get old more than a man, there is a need to study what is the reason. But I believe the nature of the other places, like in South Sudan, we simply believe that a war kills men more than a woman at early ages. And in other places, people die because of disease. People die because their ages reach to the limit of which they are supposed to go. But what surprises me And what makes me happy is our life expectancies in South Sudan compared to other places to be at around 30, 50 or 30, 40 for a woman. But it's okay, 58, given the situation of our health system. When we get a better health system later, our life expectancy may improve because a lot of diseases are the one killing us. Regarding what the question that Ngong said, I am not quite sure. I have no clear data about the age retirement in South Sudan and the life expectancy. The life expectancy is being measured by the number of people or the number that dies at, or the number that expect their life at that particular age. But there are those lucky people who can exceed the life expectancy age and they can go beyond. So that simply means our life expectancy in South Sudan may exceed when maybe our life, our medical, or let's say our health system improves, our life expectancy will exceed the retirement age. I'm not sure exactly what does the law of South Sudan say about retirement age, maybe 50, maybe 60, but I believe in a shorter period of time, we'll be expecting our life at 70s and above. And that means the life expectancy age may exceed the retirement age. And thank you very much. I'm sorry if I have taken time. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Ed, for that. Actually, it is a good transition to the point that we were talking about before. So I checked around, the retirement age for South Sudan is 65. So somebody who is at 65 should leave public jobs and go home, right? But statistically, people die way younger than that on average. Santino, you wanted to share something about it?
Well, this is contradictory.
Sorry, Philip, I'm giving it. Sorry, Philip, I'm giving it to Santino because maybe we are holding his thoughts so much now. We will still come back to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, John. Regarding the question you have asked, I think Aher has mentioned something there. I try to think about this in the research process because also I try to compare the retirement age in South Sudan. It is written that it is 65 years and you go for retirement. And when comparing it with the life expectancy is less than the retirement age that is mentioned in the Constitution. Yes, but what I may not know on the assumptions of why the retirement age could be more might have been that this life expectancy in its definition is an average, it is an average estimate of the number of years a person can live, which can be calculated based on the number of the population in the country. And therefore, it appears that some people live longer than the estimated number of life expectancy. You may find that some of the people, they can live even up to 90 years. And there, the rationale behind having the retirement age to be 65 years could have been the base for the people that put it that way. I have no data to justify that yet, but it's something quite interesting to be looked at on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was a question still back to why the number of age a woman can live is more higher than the number of age a man can live. Another thing that I have not added into the presentations, which was one of the information I got, is that the genetic difference between the two sexes is associated with a better resistance to biological aging. It seems that female hormones and the role of women in reproduction have been linked to a greater longevity. So the hormones of women seem to be a bit stronger than that of men, and that makes the women life also a bit longer than that of men. This is scientifically explained the contributing factors why the women have more number of years to live than men. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Santino. Yeah, the issue of 65 years, I don't know. I also came across a suspicious data in Sudan, across the border here in the neighborhood. The average lifespan is 65. And I was wondering whether South Sudan copied and copied and pasted the retirement age because of the one in Sudan. I don't know. I'm just being suspicious. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, Stan, I'm giving it to you. We wrap it up. Maybe you make some recommendations and way forward around the whole discussion. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you very much, John. In South Africa, the retirement age for men used to be 65, and then for women, it used to be 60. But then because of the sustainable development goals that I've mentioned, that where there is the equality that is being promoted. So for now, they're looking at it being 60 to 60. But then the other thing that is happening is that once you retire, then you will then go into the social pension fund that is given to the whole person. And I think that in itself, it helps people to sustain themselves and then also to be able to access, health facilities. For example, in countries and in South Africa now, when you retire and when you are of an advanced age, you won't pay for certain things anymore. And I think that then reduces the burden of you having to be financially burdened by some of the things. If you can't pay for electricity, you can go and apply and say, and then you are not able to pay. And I think those are the stresses also that increases your livelihood. Because if you're not worried and stressed, and then you've got grandchildren that are maybe at times staying with you, then at least if some things financially are taken care of, then you are fine. So I think some of the recommendation will also point to the health facilities, because already clearly it is something that will be a problem. For example, in Southern Sudan, we already know about the issue of malaria. We already know that the rains coming and then the flooding. So I think it has to do with the draining system, also the information that has to be given to the people who are staying in the low areas where floods are going to be. We've seen the floods in South Africa as well. And I think it's about ramming on the information and empowering people, not necessarily sometimes by giving them money or the asset, but by giving them information to say at times there will be rain, and then our rain season are from this time to this time. And this is what it means. It means evacuation. And evacuation, for example, will start from this time to this time, because rain also, I think, also abuse, and there's an increase of mosquitoes, and then malaria then comes in numbers. And then people will then have to go in numbers to different facilities. Maybe that will not necessarily be available in terms of capacity at the time. So I think those are the things that maybe needs to be done, to say information, so that people are done. Inside, also the other thing that I do is immunization. And I think I've seen there as well, immunization is done. So also it goes with information to say when people are vaccinated and are vaccinated on time, they're able to be able to resist some of the disease that are going to come to them. And we are traveling beings. We don't stay in one places. And I think as we travel, I think we're able to fend against those diseases that we meet along the way. So infrastructure, especially the health facilities. I think those are things that are going to, give us a platform to be able to at least carry on with our life. But then the other things are just the basic needs, being able to provide us with employment. Because when we are provided with employment, at least we are able to buy, an aspirin or Panado or painkiller. So those are the simple things. But then imagine if you have to, even if you were to have, your painkillers or medicine for free, but then you don't have food, you can't take medicine in an empty stomach. So certain things have to do with the social basic services that has to be done. So I think across the board, there need to be a balance between social services, health facilities, the education that needs to go to the people, that needs to be understood at first hand, and then also people taking it up to them to say, yes, we have received information and we're going to embrace it, and I think we're going to make sure that we save ourselves by acting according to the prescription that maybe the government or anybody would have given to us. So I think those are some of the things that need to be done. And I think as the Tukul, we all then have to, like I said in the past, because we don't want our conversation to just stay here, to say, to ask, for example, if there is the Department of Health or other people to say, we've got some ideas towards changing and improving the life expectancy of the people in South Africa and South Sudan. How can we make to be the contribution? And I think we can then take it from so that I think these are good points that we are doing. This is big research that we are doing, but we don't want it to. And I think where the platforms allow, we can go and make those recommendations. So thank you very much, team, for your time. This is very informative for me. And yes, and I think I'm looking forward to more engagements. And I think we changing the world, bit by bit. And I think we might take it lightly, but we are doing a great job. And I think, I just want to say, big up to us, and let's continue it in this spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stan, and very valid points there, by the way, moving forward. And this discussion, we could also take it around, by the way, even to our families, even to our relatives, until as young children are born, they should be taken for immunization, because in the long run, this contributes to the strength of the immunity of the child. Is still contributing to the lifespan of that particular person. Yeah, so this is a message we also need to carry around. Thank you very much, Dan, for that contribution. And Philip, parting ideas. I took the mic away from you, gave it to Santina. I'm giving it back to you now.
No, it's fine. No, I was just asking a question.
Okay.
But it's okay because looking at particularly in our country, South Sudan, you may find that 65 years, some people have 70, 72. This is a real life. It has nothing to do with the research. So it seemed like could be that written might have been a copy and paste from Sudan, but not a real life on ground. Unless otherwise our constitution needs to be revised. We are not in 65. No, absolutely no.
Yeah, this is one point also we need to take outside the Tukul and maybe raise it with the people in charge of labor laws in this country. Yeah, because if they take an average that is higher than the real average that we have, it becomes a bit of a logical issue. Yeah. All right, thanks, Philip, for highlighting that. Any parting ideas in the room? Santino, I'll give you back the mic so that maybe you can wrap it up. If you have a few more, yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot, John and the team. I'm very much happy that the discussion is quite interactive and it has a lot of takeaways to be looked at, and maybe we'll come back with some feedback in the next sessions. If anyone has got some feedback, one thing that is quite interesting to look at here, in particular for South Sudan, is the difference between life expectancy and the retirement age in the constitution. The two are contradicting, is one of the takeaway that we need to look at. I see a very good point that Stan has alluded to, where we can need actually to move these discussions further to the relevant institutions where we are discussing this important topic. It need to reach the institution, it need to reach a wider people. Slowly it will go, is one of our responsibility as well in the Tukul. As we meet to discuss this, we'll also be sharing the key takeaway and they will get it. So around the regions, they will get the point we are discussing here. We already exhaust the variance between the number of years, average number of years a woman can live compared to that of men. It has a lot of things where also I see things will improve based on the current realities of sustainable development goals. The point we are trying to look at here is how these differences, how this gap will be improved. But we need to look at also a genetical point of view or biological aspect of what or why the two sex will not have a balance of life expectancy, even if the other things can be improved. So we will need to look at that as well, because it has got something to do with the natural aspect of it. So these are things that we need to investigate, and we will remain knowing exactly the clear reasons of why the two different sex have different life expectancy. Yeah, I think from my side here, I would say thank you very much for listening and for your wise contribution to these discussions. I'll pass the mic over to the host, maybe to conclude it. And I am quite happy that we have contributed a lot into this topic, and we will add on if there is a need. Over to you, John.
Thank you very much, Santino. Really appreciate that. Stan, one more word, and then we wrap it up.
No, thank you very much, John. I think the other point that has to come strongly is the fact that the whole of the continent is affected by youth unemployment. So I think when we pass across the point, especially on the retirement age, we have to emphasize the fact that when people retire at an age that is reasonable, that is also giving an opportunity to the young people to occupy those positions and spaces that they were occupying. But then if we prolong the stay of the whiteheads in certain positions, then we are disadvantaging the young people, and we are also being unfair on the economic growth and the future of a particular country. So I think that is the last point for myself. Thank you very much, Tim.
Okay, thank you very much, Stan, and thank you, guys. Santino, thank you very much for being our lead speaker tonight. It has been a wonderful moment to learn from you. We really appreciate the time you've taken to do the research, come and do the presentation, and continue to share with the room. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And guys, in the Tukul here, this is an open space. So if you have a topic you would like to share, let us know. This is what we did with Santino, right? Yeah, I'm comfortable with this topic. Let's talk about it. And then we are here. So any topic, guys, you want to share, let me know. In the course of the week, we'll share it. And then we also have topics that we already have in our lineup. If that still doesn't come up, we'll still go back to our topic list and bring one more up. But we really appreciate that. And thank you very much for your time tonight. It has been another interactive session. We really appreciate this. Yeah, we'll have this retrieved. It's being recorded now, but we'll retrieve it, maybe cut it down into maybe shorter sessions and then put it on YouTube space. Everybody can access it. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for your contribution. It has been another wonderful Tukul session. From our side, we say good night and see you all next week. Same